I want to build a base. More specifically, I want to build a base in the new 1.18 terrain. So I've loaded up 1.18 pre-release 5 just before the full release comes out, and I want to have a fly around and find a cool mountain to build a base on. And all I can say just off the bat is, wow, look at this mountain generation here. Building a base or something with this as the backdrop would be awesome. So it's time now to find somewhere to build our new base. I mean, like, that is cool. That is cool. This is really cool. Whoa, very, very cool indeed. And then would you just look at this village as it tears up through this hillside here. That is looking awesome. I love the generation. But enough getting distracted, let's find ourselves a place to go and build and get working on a base. And I think this is as good a place as any. We do have a large mountain range here. We do have a few flatter areas here that we can build up on, and I don't yet have a theme in mind, but I think it's just time to clear away some trees so we can see exactly what we're working with. Okay, the next stage is to place in some markers for what we're thinking of doing. A good technique is just to use wool or something colourful that we can break away later. I'm thinking of having something like a wall that comes out like so and just kind of goes round in a bit of a circle around this level here. Maybe needs to come out a little bit more, something like that. I think it's going to extend down like pillars underneath, and we'll have a few buildings here. I think I want a tower on this left hand side, so let's mark this out with a different colour and just do something like this to mark out where a tower may go. I think then it's good if we place a tower probably on the other side here somewhere as well, and maybe one more tower up the top as a more of a watchtower. We might want to stagger this wall design here up a little bit so we could have a few buildings with a staircase running up this way, I'm thinking, and yeah, let's do a wall coming out, something like this, so we can create a new level for this base. And then we can bring that down to make it look like a staircase. Then after some time, this is what I have left, so I've added in all of the buildings and things in the orange wool, and again, these are just placeholder blocks, and the dimensions and sizes of these things will be changing, but we can see we have a few buildings down here. I've tried to vary it up with having some diagonal buildings on various angles like that, and then some regular straight on buildings in various sizes and shapes. And I think that is important, especially when we take a look back from this sort of angle. We want a lot of height variation, we want a lot of angle variation as well, with the towers out there acting as the border for our town. As we come to the top, I'm thinking on top of this platform here, having some kind of statue as looking over the entire village, like the townspeople are worshipping this god or whatever the statue may be. But now it's time to work out a block palette and style for these buildings. That's what I'm thinking for all of the red sections where we have the main structural supports and things. I'm thinking of just going for a stone, cobblestone type of mix with the grey colours. Then for the towers, I was thinking more of a deep slate, darker look, although maybe we can do a little bit more of the stone. Maybe we just do a gradient. And then for the actual buildings and houses themselves, I'm thinking a lot of woods like the dark oaks, the spruce woods, accent those with a little bit of these granites and acacia woods. I might change these up once I start actually building them, but this is preliminary what I'm thinking. I think though the first thing I want to do is put in all the stonework to get all of the platforms in place, just to give us something to start working on. And I've changed my mind. Actually, after I worked out the palettes, I decided to swap out the red structure for the deep slate block, and I've actually mixed in some blackstone, so we get a nice gradient going all the way up to the lighter deep slate block at the top. This helps as well when we're looking at the build to draw the eye going from the bottom up, as we have a darker area at the bottom and it goes lighter with the gradient, and then like I said, the buildings will be lighter. We'll probably do stone towers, that way we can mix in some of this and they are lighter again as you look up the way, but I'm happy with how it's turning out. I think the gradient worked out pretty cool. Now though, let's turn our attention over to these towers. This is going well. Need to add in a few details and then the roof, and boom, tower number 1 is done. We have a colourful roof, we have some shroom lights behind of those windows there to add a little bit of lighting, and that orange colour once again. So I'm going to copy this for all of the towers, and just like that, the magic of editing, the 4 towers are in place. So it's time now to work on these buildings, I think. Tackling one of these ones at the front just to get the shape and style correct, as I want to go for, I think, these types of colours with the dripstone, the granite and the acacia, and then we'll do some darker roofs in the form of dark oak, I think. After many attempts of trial and error, we do have have a shape for the first little building, and this is what it is. A very simple little design, but I think that if we have a lot of these, and some of the roofs will be a lot more prominent than this one, as this one is at the front. We don't want to block off too much of the view, so this is where we're at. I've added in some of the smaller details just to get an idea of what they'll look like in the end, but I think first things first to get the main structures and roofs in place of each one of them. And this is where we're at. I think we have completed this front section of buildings, and I think it's turning out really cool. If I take a step back and look at it from a distance, I think this place is going to look awesome when it is fully done. There is a lot more details I will come back in and add at the very end, like trees and things like that, but I've tried to work out a little bit of the paths just so I can see exactly what it's going to look like, and I think this is going to be good for us. So I'm about halfway done with these buildings, so let's continue on with the rest of the ones up in this area now. The buildings and houses are now complete, and do you want to take a look? There we go, we have ourselves a village, and I think it is looking pretty cool. There's a lot of atmosphere going on already, and I'm not even finished with all of the details. I did also add in this little structure here to match in with the rest, as I thought this area here was a little bit blank. The next step now is to add in the final details. I'm going to add in some custom trees, a few bits of colour, as we are very orange and black and grey at the moment, so a few other bits of colour here and there with all the trees, and then we should be done. One other thing I want to do after that is build up a statue up on top here overlooking the entire village, and then we can call it done. How do you build a statue? So I'm thinking this height roughly is where I want it to be. Maybe have some kind of wings. Okay, I'll admit, those need a lot of work. But I must say, I'm happy with what we ended up with. I think it looks cool. I love the use of this dripstone here as the sword blade. So you can let me know down in the comments what you think of my statue. So they go the towers, the walls, all of the houses with the details are in place. We have the statue at the top overlooking the town. And let's take a closer look. If we fly in here, I've added little water pipes out the front as a drainage system. We can land and take a look. All the houses are different, but using the same blocks and things, but each one of them is a different shape with a different roof style. Got little snow patches, flowers, things like that. Added in some melons and pumpkins, some other bits and pieces of flowers, a little canopy over there as a bit of colour. As we walk up here, we do see a lot more of the diagonal buildings, with the statue overlooking the town that we just completed. All in all, I'm happy with the build. I think it turned out really cool. It's a perfect build for this 118 terrain and these mountains. I love the elevation changes, the colours of the buildings, and having these mountains as a backdrop is really the icing on top of the cake. So guys, that's going to do it for today's video. It's a little bit of a different format today as we don't have some of the mods and things available, but you can let me know what you think down in the comments, and of course what you think of the build. I want to thank you very much for watching, and as always, until the next one, bye bye.